Good morning, good people. How are we doing today? Well, got a little something for y'all this morning. All right. Well, here we go. So, I want to talk about a couple things this morning. I promise you I won't keep you too long, but there's a couple things that I want to talk about. Now, the first thing that I want to talk about is this. All right. So, I want to talk about seniors, right? That's what I want to talk. I want to talk about seniors and the role that seniors play. Now, I'm going to give you a good illustration of the role that a senior plays. Just follow me on this, okay? So, there's a little experiment that people do, right? And what they'll do is this they'll say, hey, you got a presentation? And they'll say, hey, check this out. I need 3 volunteers, and whoever wins gets a prize. There's going to be a prize, nice prize. Like, let's say there's $100. Whoever wins is going to get $100. And they say, it's a very simple task. 3 people raise their hand, right? Boom, got 3 people. Very simple task. All I need you to do is come to the front of the room where I'm at, go to the back of the room, pour a glass of water, and bring it to me. Whoever does it right gets the $100, right? So the first person gets up. They come to the front of the room, they walk to the back of the room, they pick up a pitcher of water, they pick up a cup, pour the water in the cup, take it to the front of the guy, to the front of the room, right? So once they get to the front of the room, the guy says, no, you didn't do it right. Second person, you want to go? And the person's looking like, what the crap? Like, I didn't do it right. So the second person comes up, I'm like, dang, what did they do wrong? He's like, all right, maybe they didn't put enough water in the cup. So second gal goes down. She gets the cup of water. She pours the water in, making sure there's a nice little buffer in the top so no water spills out. And she walks to the front of the room. She gives a cup of water to the guy. He's like, nope, you didn't do it right either. Third person comes in like, oh, I got this. Too easy, too easy. There's plastic cups and there's glass cups. Maybe I was supposed to use a glass one. So walks to the front of the room, walks to the back of the room, gets the pitcher, pours the water into the glass, makes sure there's no smudges on there, takes it to the front. And the instructor tells him and says, hey, look, check this out. You didn't do it right either, right? Now, here is the thing. They didn't get all the instructions. He did it on purpose. He didn't give them all the instructions. What he wanted them to do was to walk around the entire circumference of the room, walk back down the center, half fill the cup, turn around 3 times, and then walk to the instructor. And that's the point of the story. You can't do something until you have the details on what it is that needs to be done. They didn't have all the details. So it didn't matter how many people volunteered. Nobody was going to figure it out because there were very specific things that needed to happen. Now, let's get to the senior leader part. In my opinion, that's the role of a senior leader. That's where that experience comes in. They've seen said thing done so many times that they know where the pitfalls are. All right. They know where the pitfalls are, and they basically get paid for the experience that they bring. Their experience is supposed to reduce the amount of time that it takes to complete a task. Their experience is supposed to make it so that we can develop people in an expedited manner. These are the things that experience gives you. You can't buy experience. Experience has to be gained, and I feel like that's where the senior leaders come by. But look, that ain't even the main thing we're talking about today. That's not. I'm building a little dialogue here for y'all, right? Now, what I was just talking about with the experience is that's what we like to refer to as the secrets in success. All right. There were things that were done, there were mistakes that were made, and that's what we pass on to the next generation. And that's where legacy comes from, right? All right, here we go. Let's talk a little bit about innovation. Just stay with me. Y'all gonna see where I'm going here. Let's talk about innovation and experience, right? It is my belief that we have to have a healthy balance of innovation and experience. Okay. So we can't just say, like, oh, get the old guys out of here. They don't know what they're talking about. We need innovation. We need new stuff. You're right. We do need innovation and we do need new stuff, but you also need experience to go along with that. Now, look, let's look at the platoon sergeant's relationship with a platoon leader, right? Now, that platoon leader goes out, gathers up the squad leaders, all right, when a plan has to be made. He or she pulls in their squad leaders. Squad leaders come in and say, hey, look, this is the thing that we got to do, right? Now, that first squad leader should be the most experienced squad leader, right? That's the joker that steps up if the platoon sergeant isn't available, right? So they all sit down, they come up with a plan. Because these squad leaders are doing this stuff on a daily basis, so they should have a working functional knowledge of what it is that needs to be done, right? So they get with the platoon leader, they come up with the plan, and ultimately it's that platoon leader's job to say, this is what we're going to do, this is what we're not going to do once they've been advised by their squad leaders. Now, here's where it goes, right? So this is where the platoon sergeant comes in. The platoon sergeant comes after that plan has been made. All right. And now look, it's a reason that the platoon sergeant may not, once he's trained up his platoon, his squad leaders, it's a reason that platoon sergeant may remove themselves from that planning process because this is going to give those squad leaders the opportunity to grow. So now what the platoon sergeant does is he comes in after the platoon leader and the squad leaders have made their plan and he starts to punch holes in it. Okay, you didn't think about this. What about this? What about this? What about this? Because that's that experience. That's where that experience comes in at, right? So he punches all those holes in there. The squad leaders go back with the platoon leader, they fix the hole, and the next time they come back, well, even in that time, now they have a more refined plan that's more likely to succeed because they've had experience from multiple levels, all right, and they've had education from multiple levels. Come in and attack one problem, all right. Now, here we go. This is where I'm saying we need innovation and we also need experience. Like we have to have a healthy balance because too much experience with no innovation, you become extinct. Too much innovation with not enough experience, you become ineffective. So you have to have a healthy balance of the two. Now hold on. We get into the grand finale here, folks. We get into the grand finale. All right, let's talk about supplementation. All right. All right. I'm not going to insult anybody's intelligence, but let's talk about supplementation. The title of this video is It's Only Supplementation When It's Done Correctly. All right. What are we talking about, Oz? Here we go. All right. So look, if you were to go find you a handy dandy AR, all right, you could pick whichever one. It doesn't matter. They all got the same stuff, and I'm talking about different things. But here it is. If you look in the very front, the part that everybody skip over and just get to the part they're looking for. Back in the day when we used to flip pages, well now we can just control left. So all that control left and then just flip into what we need. We missed a lot of important information. But in the very front of the regulation, there's a portion called supplementation. All right. Now look, this gets good. In that supplementation portion, it talks about what is required to not adhere to that specific regulation. It tells you who you need to contact, what documents need to be submitted, and then what needs to come back so that you have documentation to prove that you are exempt from adhering to the given guidance. Let that sink in. All right. So now you never heard me say that a memorandum for record would excuse you from adhering to what was in black and white. A memorandum for record just says, hey, look, I know I'm jacked up. And these are the things that I've done to, try to be as unjacked up as I possibly can. But if you truly want to be exempt or you truly do not want to follow the guidance that is in, well, I don't want to call it guidance because when you say guidance, people are like, it's a recommendation. But when you don't want to follow that law that's in that AR that's been given to you, there's a supplementation process. And when you look in there, it tells you like, hey, these are the documents you need to send up. This is the approving authority. And usually it's like a really big general. It's like 2-star, 3-star general, something like that. Now, this is what I'm going to throw out to the audience. If you don't outrank the person who it says contact in that regulation, I wouldn't advise just doing what you want to do. All right. It might not end well because at the end of the day, nothing's a problem till it's a problem. All right. That whole like, oh, I'm just trying to make the mission happen. Nobody cares about that when you mess up. Nobody's gonna care. You're gonna get what's coming to you because a lot of leaders gonna say, "Hey, we told you to get that done, but we didn't tell you to, not follow the rules." That's what's gonna happen. All right, and I'm just being transparent here. But either way, that is that supplementation portion. Like it tells you because I've been hearing a lot of talk about people saying, "Hey, you know, I'm assuming risk." Okay, that's cool, but understand something. A commander, a person who has commanding behind their names, are the only ones who can assume risk. Me as a non-commissioned, I can't assume risk. I'm acting on somebody else's authority anyway because I'm a non-commissioned officer. I don't have authority. Right? What I have are responsibilities. And by way of those responsibilities, I'm acting on some commander's authority Because at the end of the day, you got to look at it. Who's giving out that UCMJ when things don't go right? Who's signing off on those awards when people get awards? The commander, the one that has commanding behind their name. All right. So that's the supplementation piece. And the only reason I bring this up is because there's a difference in assuming risk and doing something that's illegal. All right. In the supplementation portion, it clearly says it is prohibited. What does prohibited mean? You are not to do this. It is prohibited to change anything or do you swap anything out other than what's in this regulation without prior approval from these people. That's what it says. It's in there. Biggest day. All right. Now, what does that mean? What does that mean to my young NCOs? I'm gonna tell you. Here's a little story about a time I didn't get it right. Young Staff Sergeant Green was in Korea. I'm the big motor sergeant. I'm all proud. I'm like, yeah, I'm over here doing mechanic things, getting after it, right? And Korea, I'm gonna give a shout out to Korea. Korea has the best driver's training program in the Army, hands down, undebatable, hands down. Like I have been all over. No one has a better driver's training program. We're talking holistically, uh, the big picture. Korea has the best driver's training program, hands down. They've got a TC program. They got a convoy commander program. They got a senior occupant program. They got all of these different programs where you have to be trained to act in that capacity to operate that vehicle. And then they got a rank requirement for what the TC can be. They got a rank requirement for what the senior occupant can be. There's all of these things in there and it's spelled out. So you can't go wrong. Nobody can say I didn't know. It's not a matter of I didn't know. I chose not to go read or I chose not to pay attention when I was in a class that qualified me to do the things that I'm doing. So either way, I went there as a master driver. I'm all excited. I'm like, oh man, this is awesome. They got this great program. I'm gonna make sure everything is done the way that it's supposed to be done, right? So there was a part in there that talked about you had to be at least a specialist to be a TC, and you had to do the TC uh, course in order to be a TC for a vehicle. And I think the rank requirement was like specialist, right? So we didn't have enough specialists in the company. So my company commander, old Major Goggins, man, she was awesome. She was Captain Goggins at the time, Stephanie Goggins. She came and I told her what it was. She said, okay. She went over, talked to the battalion commander, said, hey, we got to put this MFR in. We don't have enough specialists to dang on adhere to the policy. So she came back. The battalion commander was like, whatever. He didn't want to hear it. So she just said she was going to go ahead and do it. And I told her, I'm like, ma'am, I can't do that. She was like, what do you mean, Sergeant Green? I'm like, well, I got a regulation right here, that's signed by the 8th Army commander that says this is the requirement. I'm like, nobody in our chain of command outranks that dude. We can't do this. So at this time, there was a civilian. He was an old retired motor sergeant. He was one of our Lars. He's listening to this conversation. So Captain Goggin goes ahead and she walks out and he pulls me to the side. He kicks everybody out the office. And you can tell this is the beauty of having old, military personnel. They know how our culture works and they know how to get a message across. So he kicks everybody out the office. He closes the door. He locks it. He's like, come here, brother. And he set me down and he showed me the supplementation piece, right? And then what he explained to me was this. He said, look, as a non-commissioned officer, it is not your job to refuse to do something that an officer tells you. All right. He said, it's your job to make them aware. He said, you make them aware, you show them what the process is. But when they come back and they say, hey, this is good, that's up to them to go through the process. If they didn't do the process right, it's on them. It's not on you. So look, this message is by no means meant to be as a tool of insubordination. What this message is meant for is for people to understand what the regulations say and how they work. That's it. I'm not telling anybody to be insubordinate. I'm not. That is not what I'm saying. What I am saying is understand the rules to the game before you start playing them. All right? Understand, go in there, read the stuff, get after it so that you can advise your officer in the way that you need to advise them. Period. All right? There it is. Plain and simple. So we talked about innovation and experience, how we need that healthy balance. Like, once again, if you have too much experience and no innovation, you become a dinosaur. If you have too much innovation and not enough experience, you're ineffective. All right. So you got to have a healthy balance of the two. Uh, and we talked about knowing all the rules, the little cup thing I talked about with people going to the back of the room to get the water and stuff, but they didn't have all the rules that they needed to be able to complete the task. All right. And then we talked about that good old supplementation. All right. It's only supplementation when it's done right. And what your job is in that supplementation piece. All right. So, hey, look, I hope somebody found that, found that to be useful. I'm sorry if you came in late and you didn't see it. Please, hey, go back and check it out. I promise you, this will be something that you put in your tool bag and you'll be able to use it in the future. I know I made some people upset, but guess what? I don't care. The truth is the truth. What's in black, you can't go wrong with what's in black and white. All right. Okay. With that being said, I got to throw my tagline at you. Hey, look, you are important. You matter. And don't let anybody make you feel as if you're insignificant. If you do get into the inbox, we got people here to help you. The NCOPD Live team is here to help you. Let's talk about it is here to help you. All right. All right. Let's talk about it is here to help you. And the Women's Intentional Podcast is here to help you. That's right. Hey, look, if you have something, get into the inbox. We're here. All right. We mean what we say. We say what we mean. We ain't just talking out the side of our necks. We are truly here to help people be the best that they can be. Okay. Also, hey, look, life is a choice. I'm depending on you to choose well. Oz here signing out. I'll be talking to you soon.